Hi, I'm Bart Hanson. I'm the owner and lead instructor for CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record live at 2 p.m. Eastern Time every Monday. If you enjoy this video, hit that like button, and if you want to submit to be on the show, take a look at the information in the description.
My hand's about my local 1-2 private game.
Okay.
A pretty interesting hand, very interesting dynamic. So we're sitting with about 340 effective in the
Okay.
hijack,
Okay.
and we have a player in the button with about 800 effective, and a player in the big blind with $72.
So one player has 800 and the big blind has 72. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so it folds to me in the hijack, and I make it 12 with 3-4 of diamonds.
Okay.
And we have the button behind calling and the big blind calling as well.
So you make it
A
12.
little note, yeah.
So you make
A
it
little
12.
note, real quick on the button. He's more of a solid, decent player. He was probably one of the best players on the table. But 12 was like the standard bet at that game, more or less, 12 to 15.
So you make it 12 and the button in the big blind call. I mean, this is obviously a little bit on the lighter side here. It's a little bit light because of the fact that, the shorter you get in these games, here's the thing, right? Like you're making it 12, which is probably the standard open, but I just want you to point out that that's 6 times the blind, right? You're playing 1-2. So
Yeah.
even though you're playing like 340 effective and people are like, oh, it's 150 big blinds, when you see these very large raise sizes pre-flop in these low stakes live games, you can see how quickly the pot builds up. So it in essence becomes kind of a shorter stack game. And whenever you're playing with effective stacks that are shorter, high card value goes up. So a hand like 3-4 of suited has very, very little value in a game like this with large preflop sizes and a lot of short stacks. I'd rather have king jack offsuit for sure. Now, will
Yeah.
I
Well,
screw?
for the most part though, the game was playing a little bit bigger, like maybe a 1-3 or 2-5, more or less. The average stack was about $400 more or less at that point.
Okay, but still, but you know what I'm saying? Like I would stay away from some of the small suited connectors and play more high cards in these types of scenarios. I mean, I would open the button with 3-4 diamonds. I just think it's a little bit wide from the hijack with two people to your left. But okay, you make it 12. The button calls and the big blind calls, and you go three-way to the flop.
Yeah. So
Okay.
the flop comes out queen of spades, two of hearts, five of clubs.
Queen of spades, two of hearts, five of clubs. All right, so you're open ended.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the big blind checks to me, and I lead 15 into about 37.
Okay.
And the button behind me re-raises me to 50 total.
The
And
button
then,
raises you to 50. Interesting. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, on this dry board. It's pretty
Uh-huh.
interesting. So then the big blind shoves all in for 72 total.
Okay, so you're saying this is a private game, right? This is a private game in
Yeah,
Texas. The reason why, what's going to jump out at me, and this is very, very dependent. So in a casino, this is a spot where you need to know what the rule is in your casino about the 100% raise. And what I mean by that is you bet 15, the button makes it 50. So that means that he's raised you by 35, right? It goes 15 to
yeah,
50. So if the big blind shoves all in or is all in for 72, what that means is that if you call, the button should not be able to re-raise. The times that
exactly.
the button should be able to
That's
re-raise.
exactly what
Okay.
that's exactly what I was thinking. So
Okay.
it's usually like in the casinos, I know it's like 1.5, so they can repop. But in our private game, the rule is actually has to be double in order for him to reopen the action. So that's my first concern was like, okay, is he able to repop if I just flat?
Well, what's your name?
Eric.
Eric. I don't know this for sure, but I think it's possible you might be. It's possible that it might seem like double or 1.5, but let me tell you what I think is going on. I think probably in this home game, when you say double, probably what means is that they wouldn't consider the action open unless the big blind raised it to 100 or more or shoved all in for 100 or more. That's what you mean by double.
Exactly.
Whereas in a
Yeah, exactly.
casino, when you're saying 1.5, they'll actually look at the actual raise amount. So in a casino, if the guy made it 85 or more, it would be open because it's going from 15 to 50, right? The guy's raising you. Anyways, it
Exactly.
doesn't matter. Yeah, so obviously if the betting was open, you'd be sort of almost forced to fold, right? Because this guy could shove on you to your left,
Of course,
right?
of course.
But here it's quite interesting because you bet 15 into like
37.
yeah 37, so that's 52, so it's 102 when the guy makes it 50, and then 72 more. It's like 174, and it's 60-ish for you to call, or less than 60-ish for you to call. So you're getting 3 to 1. I mean, obviously, I would like a backdoor diamond here, but I think your hand is actually quite hidden. And I would feel like I would take one off here, especially with stack depth. I mean, here's the thing. A couple good things can happen here, right? Like, you're not going to be able to bluff at it. But what might happen here is that if the button raises with a dry queen and now the big blind's all in, right? The button might shut it down. Like if he has queen jack or king
Exactly.
queen, he might just go check on the turn. You're going to see 2 cards with your 8 out draw. Or he has a big hand and you make your hand on the turn and you get more money. You're getting 3 to 1 in immediate odds. So I would call here. Did you call?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I flatted, and the button behind me flats as well.
Right. The button completes because that's his
So
only
the turn
option.
comes out, the two of clubs,
Okay. Yep.
and it's on me. So it goes check. I was leaning more to like a check call, but I check, and he surprisingly checks behind on the turn.
Well, I don't know if I would check call though now. Like because now you only have 1 card to go. So I mean now the pot is what? The pot's going to be 200 and
It was
like
about
50.
250.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if he bets 125 here, you can't really call, especially when the board pairs now because you could be drawing dead. And there's a backdoor club draw out there too. I mean, I understand it depends on the sizing, but I would just be willing to check fold here on the turn. But this is what happens. So he checks it back, right? Now that could
Yeah.
represent a number of different things. He could have a full house. He could be quadded up here. You have to be a little bit aware of that. But it goes check check, which is not surprising, by the way. All right, let's go to the river.
So the river comes out the six of clubs, giving me the nut
Straight.
straight.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, so then it's on me. So I lead 100 into the 250,
Okay.
and the button goes all in over the top.
For how much total?
But I led 100 into 250,
Yeah.
and he jammed on me, and I had about 150 left.
Oh, okay. So you bet 100 into 250, and he jams, so it's only like 150 left. So he jams for like 250. 250 total, something like that. Actually, it would probably be even less than that, right? Because you put in 72 on the flop. If you did start with 340,
Yeah.
he's probably. Oh
I
no,
think
no.
he was a pre-flop. He had a $800 stack starting off.
Right. I'm sorry, I did the math wrong. You put in. So you had about. You did have about 250 left, right? So you bet 100, and he jams for 250 is about right. That's my bad. So, and the pot was about 250. So here's the thing. You're going to get an incredible price, right? I mean, the pot's going to be like 600, 150 for you to call. Is basically what it's going to be. I mean that's what it is. 600, 150 for you to call. You're getting 4 to 1. It's basically a min raise, right? It's 150 for you to call.
Yeah.
I think I'd fold. As much as I say at the low stakes, I see some wacky shit. There's a couple of things going on here that make me actually easily fold this with this price. You have a guy that's already all in. The guy doesn't necessarily think he's going to be overly concerned with that. So you already sort of have a main pot that's protected. Like he's not going to be gaining a whole lot by bluffing you off of the side. He's gaining you only 100. So that's going to make the bluffing frequency go down. The other thing too is that this is very, very consistent with Queen X of clubs or a full house. I don't really see what you beat here. Like he'd have to be bluffing here with a hand. Like unless he's so bad, like he's slow playing like ace deuce offsuit and he thinks it's like the nuts. He raised the flop and he checked back the turn because he thought he had the ultimate nuts. I don't think you're good here I don't think you're good here 1 out of 5 times, and I will oftentimes tell people, as I have in this show, to not fold at the low stakes when it doesn't make sense. I have a hard time folding absolute hands with good absolute strength, but here, with a guy already all in, I think you are toast. What do you think people think in the live
Well,
chat here? Look in here. Yeah, I just people are saying that they can't fold, but I don't know. What ended up happening?
Well, the well, he actually ended up showing queen eight of clubs.
So you did call?
Yeah, I did call. I
Okay.
did call.
I mean, here's the thing. It's probably, I'm not going to get on you. It's not that big of a mistake. You're getting, how can you, I mean, you're getting such an incredible price here, right? It's only 150 for 600, right? I don't think it's
Yeah.
that bad to call. I'm just saying that this might be one of the times where it's just like, I have made folds like this in live poker where it seems like the math says it's supposed to be a call, but when I take a step back and I look at all the situation, I just know that I'm not good given the pot odds. So that's a nice hand. So Villain
Yeah,
has
maybe if I
queen of
had
clubs, eight of
about a
clubs.
bigger stack, more or less behind, that's an
Yeah.
easy fold for me. If I had maybe about like 300-400 behind, I probably easy fold. But the thing that got me though was on the flop. What is he re-raising me with? I don't think he's re-raising me with queen jack, queen king, ace queen. I think he'd be three betting that pre-flop on the button.
Well, I mean, is that how the
So
game plays though?
yeah, he's he's a pretty solid player. So
Yeah.
and he was actually calling kind of loose at that point because he had already been getting a stack of. He had just won a big hand the previous hand. So and he's a very decent good player. So I know he's gonna be three betting maybe queen jack suited, ace, queen, queen king. So those are hands I automatically took him out of those hands right away. So what hands do you think he's re-raising me though on the flop?
Well, I mean, it's definitely an odd for him to be raising just a
Because
queen
it's
here.
such a dry board. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean sets and things like that. It's also odd to be like raising queen eight, but I do have to bring up something here where because again, the chat is a part of the show, and I can't disagree more with this guy because I actually like the way that you played it. It's debatable whether or not what kind of sizing you should use. Derej M says river lead was horrible. This is a guy in purple who does not have an icon in the chat. Derej M, why is the river lead horrible? What would you do in Eric's spot here? Why would you check the river? I keep coming back to this. Are you going to check fold? The only reason why I would ever check the river here is if somehow like I saw the guy's cards and he had a full house, or I just knew he had a full house and I was going to check fold. How can you check the river if you have 3-4 here and you call the raise on the flop to make your hand and it gets checked through on the turn? Why would you ever check the river? It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. But I see it constantly. People are like, oh, check the river. It just you should not be checking the river much in these games, unless you are inducing a bluff or getting somebody to value own themselves, something that's rare in both cases. Eric, I like the hand. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. If you like what you've seen here, please hit the subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this call-in hand, hit the like button down below. To check out crushlivepoker.com, click on the link in the description. Use the code YTA300 to get the first 30 days for free.